Welcome to More Than a Few Words. Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation for business owners. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And today I want to talk about mentors because the truth is, for all of us, even if we think that we're doing this completely on our own, there are people that we're turning to for advice and information. And today, my guest, Kate Bradley Chernis, is going to share some of her lessons learned from her mentors. She's the founder and CEO of Lately AI that learns words which will get you the most engagement and turns video, audio, and text into dozens of social posts containing those words. She's a former rock and roll DJ, and she's served 20 million listeners as the music director and on air host of Sirius XM. She's an award winning radio producer, engineer, and voice talent with 25 years of national broadcast communications, brand building, sales, and marketing expertise. And what she learned in radio about the neuroscience of music helps fuel Lately's artificial intelligence. Kate, I could continue reading, but I'd much rather talk to you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Lorraine. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Hi, everybody.
It is so nice to have you here. And I'm excited to talk about this topic of mentors because I think a lot of people jump into business and really never think about it. As we start the conversation, what do you think makes a good mentor for someone if I'm looking to find a mentor?
The best thing is the space to fail, right? And I've found that the women that I worked with that trusted me enough, they knew that no matter what mistake I made, it would still be great, right? So the first part comes with hiring people who you believe that about, number one. That's so
Mm-hmm.
important. And number two, giving them the ability to you can't grow without making mistakes, right? So you have to create an environment where it's safe to fail. And also, I was just thinking about this today. When you need to maybe critique somebody or make a suggestion with them, I I fail at this often, Lorraine, but I'm trying to remember what my mentors taught me, which is to try to back up and think about what's the outcome that I want. Is the outcome to ruin their day? Is the outcome to stop work or make them wrong, right? Is that the outcome, or is the outcome to like move forward and have a better experience? And so how you phrase that request or suggestion is so important. So I was thinking about something I've asked someone to do a million times over, and they didn't do it. And so today, and this is a person who's normally wonderful, right? So could I just say to them, hey, you didn't do that thing today? Is that the best thing to do? Or could I just turn a fresh page and be like, hey, would you mind doing this thing for me?
Mm-hmm.
As though I've never asked it before, right?
Absolutely. That's such good advice because a lot of us start our businesses, don't really know how to manage people. We don't really think about ourselves as managers, and we're thrust into that role. And so, that advice from your mentor to remember that there is an end goal and it is not to destroy that person's day, but it's to encourage them, to give them guidance, to get them to think about why they want to do something. And
That's
so what
hard too, right? Sorry, because
Mhm.
we all kind of have that, or I do. I'm not sure. I think most people have that nature to like be right,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. And I think the one of the best things I think one of my mentors taught me was being okay that even if it's not the way you would have done it,
Right.
if it works, then it's okay. So what other advice have you gotten from your mentors that you think is really was really game changing or really valuable for you?
So one piece of advice, which was so corny and obvious, was my mentor Murat was, like be yourself, and I thought that was so obvious, and I was like, well, of course I'm myself. This is a crappy piece of advice, but what I realized and what he was saying was that in fact I wasn't. So I'll give you an example. I was going to investor meetings for example, um, in a suit with a briefcase, right? Now this is not me, Lorraine.
Oh isn't, these days, that's not a lot of us.
Right. It's not a lot of us. And I was putting on this persona that I thought I had to be, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. And so the moment where, I'm not going to do this now, but in real life also, I have a foul, dirty mouth. I'm a terrible swearer, and yeah, all these things. I just decided to let it fly, warts and all, right? And what I found is that when you really are yourself, you give others the permission to be themselves, number one. And number two, you very quickly weed out who your people are, right?
Hmm.
You can't be everything to everyone. You just cannot. And it's just such an obvious thing. As women especially, we've got this wonderful weather vane. I call it the gut,
Hmm.
that tells you, am I true to myself in this moment? And we don't listen to it a lot, I find. But when you do, it's always making a little note for you, and it's saying, hey, this doesn't feel quite right.
Hmm.
And, sometimes I've even found the words coming out of my mouth feel like marbles, as my
Hmm.
CTO Brian describes it. And that's a great telltale as well. Like, are you being yourself just by the words you're speaking?
Absolutely. And I find when I'm in situations where I feel like I can't be myself, I find
Mm,
it very stressful.
mm,
And to me, it's not sustainable because I go in, I wear the 4-inch heels and the suit, and I have done that in points in my life. I don't have to do that anymore. But then people expected that.
that's
And
right.
the stress not of not being myself in that first moment, but the long term not being myself was really hard. And something else that you said that I think kind of just buzzed by, when we're talking about mentors, I think a lot of times women think that their mentors need to be women. And you shared a lesson from a man. Um, are there differences in your mind? Do you look to mentors for different things, different types of mentors?
You know, I female, male, no. In fact, for a long time, I really bucked against even calling myself, I mean, this sounds obvious, but like a female entrepreneur. Like, I hated being in that club. I felt like, you know, the a terrible night to me sounds like a sleepover with a bunch of ladies, okay? Right? And I was loath to be part of this group that now I've learned to leverage. And it's because I learned how awful it was, right? So my friend Natasha Miller educated me on the fact that only 2% of all women-owned businesses ever hit the $1 million mark. Wow. Wow. Right?
Mhm.
And then those of us who do, we never talk about it. And
Mm-mm.
she introduces herself. Hi, I'm a Natasha Miller, owner of $1 million owned business. Right?
Yes.
How awesome is that? And I think, what I look for is people who aren't, I'm going to say, not like me. I mean, obviously, I have to get along with them. There has to be that same warts and all kind of vibe to the people I can learn from. And that's so important. It's like, can you learn from this person? I mean, people are always, especially in the venture land, they're always asking you if you're coachable. By the way, they ask this to women more than men, and I find it just a disgusting, despicable word. But, anyways, and I think, well, what about you? Like, can I learn from you? Right?
Mhm.
Are you teachable, or whatever the opposite of that is? And I think that there's a lot of, I know a lot about marketing. It's not that I'm not willing to learn about marketing, but I'd rather learn stuff that I have zero idea about, and
Mhm.
figure out how can I surround myself with the right people who I can have an aha with.
Mhm.
I personally, Lorraine, I don't know if you're like this, but I often rely on a catalyst to change the channel, to get the aha, to give me the
Mhm.
perspective and open the door.
And I I find the longer that I've been in business, the harder it is to find people who will help you do that.
Mm,
Not because they don't want to, but everybody assumes, oh, well, she's already running a business and she already knows what she's doing. And so they're less likely to kind of push you towards that aha. So I think One of the challenges is continuing to find as your business grows that next level of mentor who's willing to call you out on your shit.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about this the other day because I have a little brother. He's not little, he's younger brother.
Hmm.
And I was talking to him about mentorship just in general because my husband and I are always good at having older friends, 10 and 20, 30
Hmm.
years more than us. And we look to them for marriage advice. We look to them for money advice. We're interested in being around people who've been where we want to go very
Hmm.
specifically, right? And then the same time, I need to be friends with younger people because they tell me things like, "Did you know that bras don't have wires anymore?" Right? This is important stuff you need to know. And I was talking to my brother about that, and he was like, "No, I haven't really thought about this idea," which is surprising to me. But it's the same in business, right? You want to look to both people I don't want to say above, but like who've been where you want to go, and then others who are on your way to where you're going, and think of them both as people groups
Hmm.
that you can learn from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kate, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Lorraine, you're a star. Thank you.
I have a list of places if you are curious about what Kate is doing in all facets of her life. You can find her on Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube, and there will be links for all of them. Look for Kate Bradley Chernis and Lately AI, and there will also be a link to her website at lately.ai. Kate, thank you again for being a part of the show. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, if you'd like to find other resources for your business, be sure to drop by digitaltoolbox.club. Watch a video, download a worksheet, see what you need to learn to grow your business. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.